Oh, this is Quorthon.
How are you doing?
I'm sorry for being late.
Okay then, how are you doing?
There was so many lineups lined up. Oh, great.
Good.
Great. I've been doing 2 appearances today and personal appearances, in stores and a whole bunch of interviews.
Speak good English.
Oh, thank you.
Alright then, Quorthon, could you tell me when the band formed? Who formed?
Who formed the band?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That was February, March 1983. And what was around that back then was just Black Sabbath and Motorhead, really, which could influence you to produce something like this. 6 months later, I bought an album called Black Metal.
Yeah,
and I showed it to the other 2 guys in the band, just proving that, hey, come on, you can do this. No, you can't. Yeah, look at this band.
So, how long have you been playing your instruments before you actually got the 2 other members in the band?
Oh, I played drums from the age of 6 or something like that for almost 10 years. And then, not until I started Bathory, I started to play guitar.
Yeah.
And I've been playing guitar ever since.
So what do you play now in the band? Is it just guitar and vocals?
Yeah, guitar and vocals.
Guitar and vocals. How long did it actually take for you to do a record with the other 2 guys? How long did it actually take?
Well, we are fortunate, whereas other bands can spend X amount of money for about 2 months. We can spend the same kind of money for maybe 3 months. And we are very fortunate because we have, very free hands when we work in the studio. We don't have, big shots coming in and telling us what to do and not to do.
Yeah.
Simply because there are only 4 people of us in the studio, ourselves and our manager and producer. And it has been like that ever since the start. And we wouldn't want to, have any other people coming in.
So when you actually started the first LP, it was just you that played everything on it?
Oh no. I just mentioned in interviews that I do play the drums and I do know how to play the bass.
Yeah.
So obviously people took that from me playing everything on the first couple of albums simply because there was no lineup pictures.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, wow, playing everything must take you ages.
I've had a lot of problems, answering to all those rumors going around for all these years, and every time I have to answer the same questions. Is it true that you eat children? Is it true that you played all the instruments in the first couple of albums? And I've answered those questions a million times.
I'm sorry if I asked you it. But I didn't know.
And, the official biography has been sent out by the record companies. It's really not helpful either, do that.
So tell me a bit about your first LP. What was it called?
Just Bathory, plain Bathory.
What songs were on it? Could you tell me what they were about? If you remember.
Well, The Thing Below is, of course, The Kingdom Below, and horror stories, because you didn't have any higher ambitions of creating something, masterpieces or anything like that. We were 3 kids into horror stories and fast metal, that was it. And we were still going to school practically, and we spent 56 hours recording and mixing that LP for it was some of £500 or something like that, wherever it was. So, that was just for fun, really. And then a lot of fan mail came in, and the whole thing just continued. And I'm the first person to say that I'm really surprised the whole thing went on at all.
Could you tell me what label the first record was on, besides Music for Nations? I believe it was on a different label.
Yeah, well, the first one was on our own label, Black Mark.
Black Mark.
Which is now our copyright, or whatever you say, production company.
Yeah. So carry on.
And then we were signed to a bunch of American independent labels.
Yeah.
And then to Music for Nations for 3 years. And now with Noise in Germany.
What were the independent labels in America?
That was Combat.
Oh, Combat.
In New York. That was for, I think, 1 album or so, 2 albums.
Learn something new every day, don't you?
No.
Tell me a bit about the second LP, which was called...
The Return.
Yeah, that's the one, The Return.
That was a deep dive into the evil shit.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about the cover.
The cover is just a full moon.
Yeah.
And a bunch of clouds. And the reason why we just took the full moon is because in horror movies and in not necessarily horror movies, but all over the place you can see a full moon and the clouds going in front of the full moon.
Yeah.
All over in just about any picture, horror picture and whatever. And it's a psychological element. The Return. You obviously think about the Return cover.
Yeah.
And it's a great effect.
Did you have any other covers before choosing that one? Or was it just straightforward?
No, I just saw the picture and I thought it was just wonderful. So I just wanted the picture for the cover. Actually, it was taken from a sailboat in the Baltic Sea.
Yeah.
So, and it was the studio technician in the studio where we recorded the second LP who had taken that picture.
Yeah. What's your favourite songs on that record? Which are your favourite ones that you like to play live the most?
The second LP?
Yeah.
Probably Sadist.
Got a fast one. Very fast
Well,
one, is it?
the first part of it is very fast, and the second part is extremely heavy.
Slow but heavy, like doomy sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Your third LP was Bloodfire.
No, the third one was Under the Sign of the Black Mark.
That's the one. Right. How many LPs have you got?
5.
5. Sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about the third one.
The third one was recorded in the same studio as all the others, apart from the second one.
Yeah.
And it was the first LP where we started to use some other instruments like Hammond organ, keyboards, and synthesizer guitar, and a lot of effects and things. And we started to experiment a little bit with the music. We had a song called Into the Eternal Fire, which broke things for us, really.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line for the heavy kind of metal which we are doing today. It was a very different song. It was a long song as well, over 6 minutes, which was very long for us at that time. And the LP wasn't super good, but for the time it was very different towards any other metal speed shit, which were around at that time.
Yeah.
This was 1986.
So tell me a bit about the cover. What was it like? Was it the devil on the top of a castle or something, or a mountain?
Yeah. Well, there's this person standing there. Why do you say popping his muscle?
Or is it like a demon or something?
Well, I think he's a Swedish champion, bodybuilding champion or something like that. We just posed for that because I wanted it to look like it's kind of a sacrificial rite,
Yeah.
And he's standing in a huge thing, which is a lot bigger than it looks on the picture. It's twice as much on each side as well, and up. Cost a lot of money to get it.
Yeah. Which is your favourite selling album? Which is the best selling? How many copies of each did you sell?
It's impossible because we've been through so many different labels, and you never get the right statements anyway. And you really don't know what to believe from the figures which they are telling you, because obviously you get as much fan mail as they sell. You sell records, and you have to sell twice as much records. So I'd say between 90 and 100.
Right.
That would be the most fair figure.
Have you ever done the video before?
No, this is the first time. We've been trying out before, but we didn't release anything simply because we just wanted to try out what our songs would be like on video.
Yeah.
Because obviously all the lyrics are very good lyrics to make videos from, because they are very telling stories.
What's the video? What's going to be in this video? Is it going to be like these horror sort of, like King Diamond sort of?
No, this is the first one we've chosen is One Road to Arthur Bay, which is about Christian missionaries coming to Sweden in 893, and it's more or less just a documentary about what happened.
Are you Christian? Or
No, I'm not religious, but I do have faith.
You do. Are you actually in satanic sort of things? How many people have actually asked you that?
Well, you mean the satanic figure?
Yeah. Has anybody actually said to you, are you satanic?
Well, they do seem to think that.
Are you?
No.
No.
None of that things really do exist, because you are interested in a lot of things, and you want to search for a lot of things, and obviously you must read the Bible to get the opinion of the Christian faith and so on. But I mean, the Christian faith really doesn't give you anything. I mean, the woman is dirty. It says, because and everybody is born of woman, so obviously everybody is full of sin and full of shit, and should spend the rest of their lives asking God for forgiveness for something they didn't do in the first place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's from the religious aspect. I'm not religious, but I do have faith.
Yeah. So you're not bothered where you go when you die.
Well, I'll hope I'll go somewhere where the weather is nice and the girls are wet.
Right, tell me a bit about your new LP. Where did you record it?
We recorded it in a private studio outside Stockholm, and the studio, we've given it the name Heaven Shore, and it's just the size of anybody's toilet. It's very cheap, and it's actually a garage. And we empty the place out on the two Porsche cars, which are standing there usually, and we just put the drums in there and then record it.
How long did it take to record?
Well, we spent 3 months or 4 months on, including mixing, because we're recording a very different way.
Yeah.
We record like Beatles used to record, way back in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
We have only got 14 channels to work with, but sometimes it sounds like 80 channels, and other bands do have computerized machines and everything with, 40 channels, and it still sounds so thin. And we have all these effects and everything, and it's very complicated. And sometimes we have more than just one sound on a channel, like a guitar solo, and then a scream, and then a horse running by, and then a bird sing or whatever, So you have 4 sounds on some channels.
A bit like the last LP you had at the beginning of horses and screaming and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who produced it? Was it yourself or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you just cut everything together. You go out into nature, you run around a little bit, and you beat with a hammer on an anvil, and you record that, and you hire a horse, and the horse runs by, and you record it.
Is that what you actually do when you do a record like that? You actually put a live animal running past, or do you just make them up on
Not in
computers?
the past. In the past, it was taken from sound effect records. But today, we tend to want to do everything ourselves, because you can never have a horse run the way you want him to unless you organize everything yourself.
Yeah. Are you actually into horse riding and things like that? Do you actually ride horses?
Well, I really don't have the time to, but I can whenever I want to, because I live in a very sporting kind of area in west of Stockholm, where there is a lot of green, environmental. How do you say? Well, there's a big sport facilities,
Yeah.
able to play
Leisure
to play
centre.
football and so on.
Yeah. Could you tell me a bit about the cover? I've never actually seen it yet. Tell me about it.
It's an English painting.
Yeah.
It was done by an artist called Frank Dixie, and the painting was from the late 19th century. The Romantic era, and it shows a Viking being sent out by his fellow Vikings from the shore onto a black stormy lake, and he's dead, of course. I mean, the Viking chief.
Oh, yeah, the ones where they burn the ships and sell them off.
Right. And they set fire to the ship, and the painting is called Viking's Funeral. And actually, I wanted another picture, but this is the one that I could find, and it's from the Manchester Art Gallery.
Have you actually been to that gallery yet?
Oh, but I just saw it, and I just called them up and said, like, hey, could you please send me the transparency of that? Yeah, sure. And I paid the money. It took them almost 11 months to do it.
So what's your new LP called?
This one?
Yeah.
Hammer Heart.
Hammer Heart. Why the title?
Why the title?
Yeah.
Well, the symbol of the power god, or the man, or the god to embody the strength and all that, the Thor, naturally, his symbol was a hammer, and even though it doesn't mean anything that you have a hammer around your neck in a chain, you have the hammer at heart as well.
Did you have any other titles before that? And
about, you mean...
the new LP, did you have another title before choosing that one?
Well, we had a song called Blood on Ice, and for a couple of years we wanted a title that had that as a title for our LP, but every time that we did Blood on Ice, which was in 3 or 4 different versions, it turned out to be the weakest song, because the new songs were always better. And it didn't come on this LP this time either,
Yeah. How would you compare this new LP to the last one, or the previous albums?
Better sound, better songs, longer songs. The first time I've rehearsed guitar solos, the best lyrics I've ever done.
Yeah.
And the first time I have been standing there doing a vocal jump for 20 or 25 times, comparing to before. I just did it once or twice, and that was it, because you didn't care much about the quality.
Yeah, I'm going to say, something I was going to say there. I forgot. I was going to say, shit, I'm running out of questions here. Oh, damn. Something about the LP, I was going to say. Oh, well, forget that. I'll go into it later.
Yeah.
Right, tell us a bit about touring for now. What was the first time you toured and who with?
A tour?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't toured in the world tour yet.
Never toured at all?
No.
Never, not even since you started?
No.
Ah, where was that then?
The reason for that is because when we started out, everybody was afraid of, that we would, be too violent. We weren't too violent, but at that time in Stockholm, we were the pretty most wildest band around. And they said, you're never going to be able to get a club gig. And we said, like, hey, come on, there's no place to gig anyway. Because there's more places to gig in central of London than a whole of Scandinavia still.
Yeah.
And there weren't any places back then, and there aren't any places now, so why should we concentrate on being a band with an image that allows us to play when there's no places to play? So we just went straight along with a very bad image, if you want to call it like that, just to gain, a lot of attention to the LPs.
How would you say your the musicianship is like on the new LP compared to the last LPs? Do you think you've all got improved at playing your instruments and it's not as much racket as the early stuff?
Yeah, well, first people call us the one-man blur, and, that's really... in England they call us the one-man band blur, and having to answer to stand up for that and answer that, one-man band blur, you feel shit about going into write 10 good songs and then spending 4 months and a lot of money and blood, sweat and tears recording a new LP, and they're going to call you blood-sucking vampire in a one-man band blur, Of course journalists have the freedom to call whatever you want you to. It's a damn hard job to really be accepted as a musician. Yeah. But Bathory is one of the few bands that really could go off and do a ballad and be accepted for doing it. You couldn't probably not accept Slayer or Anthrax doing a ballad. Yeah. But Bathory would probably be the only band whom you wouldn't be surprised of doing a ballad.
So you've actually done a ballad on this new album?
Yeah, there's a ballad on the new LP.
Which one's it called?
It's called Song to Hold Up High.
Why did you want to do a ballad on this LP?
Simply because I wanted to show a different side of myself, and I wanted to see people's reaction, not shocking people, but showing them that
you can actually play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Could you tell me a bit about... I keep forgetting what I'm going to say, because I haven't got no questions, you see. I'm just like, come on, what's in my head?
Well, just ask anything.
I'm trying. What do you do in your spare time?
Oh, I spend a lot of time at libraries, museums, painting, drawing, assembling, models, assembling kits, military things. What do I do? Yeah, I've just started working out a little bit with my body. Yeah. And, just taking care of a business, minding my own business, doing nothing really special.
Could you tell me what your favourite songs are at the moment? What sort of music you like to listen to? What bands you listen to? What you're influenced by?
Oh, I listen to a lot of things.
Which is stuff like Beethoven and...
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bands I've interviewed say they're like Beethoven and Bach, and... So, I thought I'd just ask you that one.
You mean there's something you would want to play?
No, I mean, when I interview bands, they always tell me what they like. They always like to listen to, besides heavy metal, Bach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that what stuff you like to listen to?
Well, I listen to classical music 100%, or 99.9%. Yeah. And if you don't pick up an old Pistols record or an old Kiss record and listen to the stuff which you listened to when you were a kid, I adore the Beatles, especially their early things. I worship Kate Bush, and I like early Pink Floyd stuff. What do I listen to more? Well, I think what is just about the most underrated band in the history of heavy metal.
Yeah, they're rubbish.
They're
terrible.
geniuses.
They're terrible band. Yeah. If you wanted to do a cover song by a band, which band would you do and what song?
We've done that already, but we haven't released them.
Right, come on. Spill the beans. Which song?
Now I'm Here, and Ogre Battle. What more? Black Diamond, Cold Gin, things like that.
What songs are they by? One's by Kiss, I noticed, then Cold Gin.
Yeah.
What are the other bands?
Queen.
Yeah.
And we were thinking about a Beatles song as well.
A really death metal sort of version. A real death metal sort of version.
No, just pop version. Like the original Twist and Shout or Roll Over Beethoven or Jism is Lizzie.
Yeah. Do you like all this funky music? What do you think to all this funky music that's kicking about these days? Do you like the funky sort of rock, or do you think it's just a waste of time?
Well, it's great, for heavy metal to go in different directions.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people go into the rap metal, some for speed metal. You know, you have 50 different brands of metal, which is absolutely brilliant because
Yeah.
it gives people the opportunity to choose, really.
Mhm.
And it's easier for Bathory to be accepted as a band as well because not everybody does the same kind of metal that we do now.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have very few bands running around in fur and leather and wielding big broad swords and
And a war.
well, yeah, well, and then you have us, you know.
Yeah.
So and then you have Voivod going around singing about the future and the space.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good. All these different metal brands coming up, not just about singing about Satan and things like that, but you know they sing about nuclear war, politics, poll taxes.
Yeah. So what do you sing about then? What's your lyrics mainly about? Just about horror and death?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they used to be about horror and death, and you know, dark angels coming with swords and fire in their hands. You know,
That's why people thought it was satanic.
right. Well, we did sing about that shit before, but we also should have attached more like some kind of explanation that we are not into this for serious. This is horror stories, and please take us for that. You know.
Yeah. So, how do you class your music? Death metal, speed metal, or what? What would you class your music as?
Oh.
Would you say death metal, or do you think that's like an offence?
Late 1983, I got that question. What would you like to label your music? Because if you remember in the early 1980s, everybody asked you what kind of music do you play.
Yeah.
And it was black metal, it was speed metal, thrash metal was just coming around, and I just simply said death metal.
Yeah.
6 months later, everybody called themselves death metal bands.
What's the difference between black metal and death metal? Do you know?
Death is a little harder, and black metal is allowed to be doomy and powerful, you know, like
yeah.
You know, but it's still, it's very dark and just about Satan. That's black metal. That's utter satanic thing. Death metal is just about destruction and death and war and killing and things like that.
Yeah.
Thrash metal is just, you know, white noise. And then you have speed metal, which is complicated. It's very technical, good metal.
Yeah.
But it's very, very fast and just for the sake of speed and very compromised, you know, more like Anthrax and Metallica.
Yeah.
And then you have 10 million other brands of metal.
Have you ever met any of those bands like Metallica? Have you ever met them before?
No, I ran into Celtic Frost, that living at staying at the same hotel, and whenever I travel around Europe, I seem to run into Slayer.
Slayer.
Wherever I go, they seem to play.
Are you good friends with Slayer?
Well, I mean, good friends, I wouldn't say that, you know, but I've run into them a few times.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about this history sort of thing you do, where you get the flamethrower and you like, whatever, you get the fire and you burn it into the sky. What made you want to do that?
Maybe when?
Well, I've seen pictures of you where you get this fire and you just spurt it into the air.
Yeah?
Yeah, what made you want to do that?
Well, I started the first time I did that, well, I was 6 or 7 years old. And, of course, the fireball now gets, simply because one of the three ingredients that I use when I do breathe this fire is water. That's why it explodes. You know, if you throw water into oil that burns, it explodes.
Yeah.
That's why it gets so big.
So do you actually do that every time you play live?
Well, every time they're
when you're going to play live, sorry.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I set fire to the guitar, let's smash it up, and then breathe fire using it.
What was it like the first time you did it? Did you actually have any accident? Did you burn yourself or?
Well, not the first time, but I've burned myself a lot of times. Burned my hair, burned my eyelashes and my nose and things. And especially when you come here to England and you can't bring the stuff that you normally uses through the custom, they give you something called petrol.
Yeah.
And sometimes they give you paraffin.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work quite the same as I'm used to.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about your stage. Have you got an idea of a stage you'd be bringing over with you?
No chance at all. We haven't thought about anything like that. We haven't even thought about where to stand on stage. You know.
Yeah. Where are you thinking of playing?
Well, that's not the most important thing to us. The most important thing to us is really to explore what you can do in studios.
Yeah.
You know, like the Beatles. Okay, they did go on world tours, and then they went on to explore the secrets of the studio. And rather than having us having to change because of the techniques in the studio. We want to take the technique and adapt it to our way of working. So working with records is, that's a GB kick. It goes on far beyond any drugs of any kind. And then there's the video thing opening up for us right now. I mean, it's a big challenge to try to put your lyrics into a video.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about the press. What do you think about where magazines like Quorthon and such like slag you off? What do you think about it? Do you just laugh or do you take it as an offence?
Well, if they do slag us off, I would be very sad, because they obviously treat me with utter respect when I come over, because I really do have a name,
Yeah.
It's like the devil himself coming over sometimes. At first, when I come over in 1985, people were too nervous to shake my hand.
Yeah.
And now when I see people writing autographs for fans in the street and in shops, it's like they are afraid of me eating their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have a certain reputation, but it's really important that you get an eye-to-eye level with a journalist, because he has the power to put your words out in any form which he wants to. Well, they obviously have always treated me very, very nice. It's just the photographers who really can't accept all the time that they really do not want to spit blood, eat children, and breathe fire every time. But show myself from the personal side as well.
Yeah, I've noticed sometimes like Quorthon slag a lot of thrash bands off. I don't know why.
Well, they were sucking the dick of a certain band from Newcastle, and when that band started to become dickheads, obviously because of one problem or another, which one, they started to throw a lot of shit on that band. And I don't think you should do that. Just because a band is hip, you shouldn't suck their dick, and then when they're not so popular, you should, ask them to go to hell. They are a magazine. They are supposed to support the metal bands simply because the people who buy their magazines are metal fans.
Yeah.
And they should treat the bands and the readers with utter respect.
And I think Quorthon's the worst magazine of all.
Well, still it's important to do it, You can't deny me doing it. It's better, doing that thing than having them writing shitty about you just because you think you're too big. You can never get too big to make an interview with any magazine, even a small fanzine going out in just a couple of hundreds, stenciled copies.
What do you think? What do you think you'll be? Do you think you'll ever go like the rock star attitude, or do you think you're going to stay like you are?
No, never.
Never.
That would never happen. And if it would happen, shoot me, please. Because like I told you, I'm very fortunate to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And not that one guy in a million gets to do records and tour around doing promotion and putting up for magazines and everything like that. It's a guy's dream.
Yeah.
And rather than sitting home in your boy room playing guitar and nobody knows, I'm, fortunate to do everything. And I'm so proud of people really wanting to hear my music and buying my records. I get childishly proud every time I see any kind of proof of people's support to my music. It's greater than any cake. Your heart is full of so much joy every time you get any proof of that. Like today, I'm meeting hundreds of fans coming in the record shop, and they have all the albums. And they bring all their pictures they have of me, and they want me to sign jackets. Expensive jackets. Some of the people wanted me to take a big silver pen and write my name on the back of a leather jacket, handmade leather jacket, that probably costed somewhere between 200 and 300 pounds. And I was like, hey, come on, I'm going to ruin your jacket. No, please do it.
So do you actually do it, or do you just like tell them no?
No, some people who had very expensive jackets, and I said, no, come on, I'll sign a piece of paper, it's just a bloody autograph, come on.
Yeah.
I'd rather shake your hand.
What do you think to bands that have got big rock star attitudes? What do you think? Have you met any bands like that?
Well, they can just boss off, because if they are treating people in a certain way, just being the big rock star, not having time to talk to fans and talk to small magazines. I mean, there are no small magazine. A magazine is a magazine because of the media form, reaching out to people, and it's. If you are treating people in that way, being arrogant and consider yourself to be as bigger than you really are, you're not worth the attention, really.
So can you tell me how many guitars you've actually got?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Now, what makes of those BC Rich or?
No, one is an Ibanez Destroyer DT, and I've had it for 6 years.
Yeah.
And then there's a Gibson Les Paul copy, which I've had for 7 years, which I don't play on anymore. I have bass strings on it, so that I can play more or less, piccolo bass.
Yeah.
And then I have an acoustic guitar, which the acoustic guitar which I've used on all Bathory records.
Ah.
It's the same guitars I've always used on all Bathory records.
Right then, Quorthon. I hope everything goes alright for you.
Oh yeah,
Looking
I'll be
forward
staying in
to
London one more day.
looking forward to hearing your CD when she
Yeah.
sends me it.
Okay.
Okay then, thank you
Take
very
care,
much.
Jason.
And you.
Great.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.